Warren Callion & Maddox is a business law firm focused on representing the multifamily real estate and hospitality industries and related practices. Attorneys at Warren Callion & Maddox leverage in-depth technical knowledge, unrelenting advocacy, and well-established relationships to provide clients with the representation they need to succeed. Warren Callion & Maddox is proud to be a minority and women-owned business enterprise. You can find them at warrencallion.com.
Welcome back to this special episode and the second edition of the season 1 wrap. Mindy is sharing the mic with me, and I'm so honored to be kicking things off and interviewing you today.
Thank you so much for being here. It's so exciting that I get to sit with you again and that we get to have more time together.
I see this as us celebrating you starting something that you'd never done before and doing it with great success. From just having conversations with women to now like having sponsors to now having parties where, you know, dozens of women come just to build community and support. I'm like, this is all about you and the community. I love it so much.
Thank you so much.
So if you miss episode 1 of the season recap, you have to watch it because we talk about Mindy's why, how she got started, and the people who've lifted her up. So I'm hoping that we can just look at some of the special moments to you, maybe when you learned something new or, you know, of course, something funny. There was a lot to talk about 6 fingers. But we just relive some of the special moments and honor also the women who showed up for you at a time when you were doing something for yourself.
I love it. I like to start every episode with an icebreaker question, and that has proven to be really interesting and fun. Let's take a look at some memorable ones.
I guess I had an extra thumb when I was born, which,
What?
yeah, I know. My mom.
That is a talent.
It's a thing. Yeah, my mom said I would have been a great pianist. Yeah, but that's my hand that I draw with and I write with, and I have pretty good handwriting, and I do visual art, so it actually might have benefited me. I'd like to think I'm more evolved, but
Yes.
yeah. But I took biology, and they said that's not. Evolution is over.
But I think everybody's eyeballs popped out of their head when they found out that I was formerly incarcerated. I spent 12 months in a federal correctional facility.
I think one of the most proud moments that I ever had was when I made a pizza for President Obama.
No way!
Amazing. Yeah. Got you. Mic drop.
And I know that a lot of people are scared of snakes, but it's uncanny. Like the thought of them, a picture of them completely freaks me out.
Picture.
So, yes. I remember biology in 8th grade, page 76. Still think about it. Still can't accidentally fall on it. I know it's freaky, and I don't even like to tell people that because I'm scared they'll play tricks on me.
Right. 6 fingers.
Oh my God, that was nuts.
Pizza for Obama? Like, no big deal.
A little first pizza action.
Yeah.
But what I love about the warm-up questions is you put those in with intention because women from all walks of life would be participating in the show. So if someone didn't have experience or hadn't done this type of thing before, it lets them loosen up, takes the edge off, and it allows them to just show their personality.
Well, I learned that from my experience. I mean, we talked about the episode that never made it to air. You know, once I finally relaxed and had a laugh, then it went well. But had that not happened, I would have been fine.
It's always fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just smile and nod. But the very first episode that I did with you was about assertiveness. And it was so fun because we had a special group of women, a doctor, an attorney, and I was just there to hang out. But we talked about how no matter our professional situation, that a lot of times us just being a boss babe and showing up as ourselves was sometimes mistaken for being assertive.
Yes. Oh, I remember that. And I learned so much from that episode. I pulled a clip for us to look at.
So it's not just about us practicing the art of saying no, right? If it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. It's us having the grace to accept when others tell us no. I can't tell you how many times I tell someone no, politely, of course, but very direct and concise, and they come back with another ask. And so just recently I counted the asks in an email exchange, 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Finally, I had to just stop answering the email because I felt like I was beginning to become rude. And so you have that power to choose. So you can just say, thank you. And so I've actually changed my signature going out when someone emails. I talk about my focus for the year, when I'm going to respond to email. And if what is in that signature can't help someone, who else to call? Because it's easier to get someone else to say no on your behalf than for you to say it directly.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
And let me tell you, that email signature's changed a little bit.
Okay.
It might even be a little more direct. I used to say, like, I'm going to answer email on Saturdays. So now I say that I will answer email when I get a break. Because what I found was on Saturdays, I did not want to return those emails.
Yeah.
And then people started expecting them. And I was setting up expectations for myself that I truly didn't want. So when we're just honest with people, then we tend to get grace a little quicker and we earn trust at the same time.
That's so true. That's so true. And I've tried to use that a little bit more in my life, and it's been really helpful. And I just want to thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are all in this together and truly just, making it happen together. And it reminds me of the second episode where we talked about imposter syndrome. Everyone had this moment in life when they weren't sure they were enough, when they weren't sure how they would show up. But there were some very special nuggets that we got during that episode.
Yes, I remember Dr. Brooks saying something really special about being an advocate for others, helping her overcome her imposter syndrome. Well, I'm not going to retell it. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
I think something that's helped me in terms of getting over my own imposter syndrome is being an advocate for others, because people will look at me and say, how did you start your own business? How did you build your own website? How did you do this? And you're like, okay, yes, if I can explain to you how to do it, then like I brought us both along.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it gives you more entitlement or empowerment around all of the achievements you've been able to do.
I co-sign that. Yeah, and I still co-sign that. I think there's something really important that she said there, and it's you go from practicing, right? Because she thought she was this imposter, to finding power and standing on your own 2 feet. So while she was advocating for that woman, she found her own voice.
Yeah, that was just something about hearing her, and this was new in the season, and it was so special to do an imposter syndrome episode so early on when I was still dealing with it and working through it. And something else from the episode that stood out was from you, and you talked about someone seeing something in you that you didn't see in yourself. So I would like to take a look at that again.
But getting back to the heart of the conversation, imposter syndrome, I was so blessed to have the opportunity to work on the campaign that turned Louisiana into smoke-free. The whole state, everyone had to follow, the law, and it was smoke-free restaurants. We did that work as 3 women, all under the age of 27, against an entire male. Well, there was one chick, but all male, mostly in their 50s and 60s, because the tobacco industry created a table for them. And so at the time, we always said, like, how do we do that? No, because we worked hard, all the things, and literally we're like in a college textbook with the strategy that we did. But when I think about, my career, truly, it's not about hard work. Although I have solid work ethic, I have a good heart, and I have good intentions. It's that others saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And at times that might have created a bit of imposter syndrome, because it felt like I wasn't ready to do it, but they knew I was ready. But it's also timing, like you pointed out. And so for anyone who's on that journey and they're trying to figure it out, like, just ride, just have fun, because you might be exactly where you are, and it'll make sense then. Yeah. Because let me tell you, when I became a vice president at 28, like leading all the people and all the things in multiple states, I was like, why am I here? But I definitely understand why now. They wanted someone with a fresh perspective that wasn't placed in a box and would dream. And that was this little relentless 28-year-old at the time. Yeah. What was so cool about that episode we just saw is just recently I had someone that I'm serving as a mentor for travel to Austin from Louisiana. He's thinking about moving in Texas and switching the type of lobbying that he's doing. So I sent him to my mentor to meet with her. I was out of town, so there's no one better than the source of the inspiration. Yes. So, many times we think that we have to show up for others, but those that have showed up for us before will still show up for those you care about. So she is still doing incredible things and inspiring that next generation of policymakers and public policy professionals.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a beautiful story. So many wonderful women, and you guys all support each other. And that reminds me of a woman that you talked about in our episode about collaboration over competition. I remember you told us this beautiful story about a mentor, and you couldn't tell us her name. So let's watch the clip and then see if we can get the name out of Terri.
But another mentor that comes to mind is someone who, in a couple of months, I hope I get to talk about her just publicly and openly with her name. But I grew up in my 20s in Columbia, South Carolina. And it was the first time I saw young Black professionals actually doing things, doctors, lawyers, elected officials. Where I grew up, that just didn't exist. And so I just fell in love with this group of women that were about 10 years older than me, and they would tote me around to receptions and events and whatnot. And so one of them saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, which is how we grow quite often. And so she invited me to take her spot on an advisory board at a Catholic school and to be the gala chair of their fundraiser. And so that was my first nonprofit board and the first time that I chaired an event. And then her second assignment was to plan her wedding in Jamaica.
Wow.
Lucky me.
Nice.
But I got to see that I could plan large scale events and help others, and I became confident, and I shifted into the spot that she once sat in, which was community leader. Yeah, so I actually have a beautiful update on that. So the mentor I was talking about at the time is South Carolina Judge Michelle Childs, or sometimes she goes by J. Michelle Childs. And she's someone that, when I was 22, would just take me everywhere with her. Many times I didn't have money for dinner. I was making $30,000 and working in a television newsroom, and she would just take me with her. But she was one of the final 3 women to be considered for the Supreme Court. And that allowed her just to be exposed to a whole lot of things, and it allowed her to be considered for something else. So I got to be there for her the night before she had her confirmation hearing and helped her with her talking points, and we picked out her outfit, and we had dinner with her family and got to watch the confirmation hearing. And just last week, we're filming this now and the end of July, she had a confirmation vote, and she will soon be moving to D.C. to be a D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, which is super high up. I don't understand all of it, but it's super high up within the court system. And so for me, it was just, she poured so much into me that I got to be there to support her. And you better believe I'm going to be at that swearing in.
Yes.
In the most fabulous outfit.
That's right.
And with spirit fingers. Because this is what she's been working for all her life.
Oh my gosh, that's so special. It must have been so hard to keep that in.
It was a secret for a long time.
Yeah. You're like, because I know you're like a cheerleader too. It's like,
yeah,
that's great.
At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can feel free to use your magic tap whenever you want. Thank you. No fees equals more good deeds. Amplify.
Women of Austin would like to thank our community sponsors. Hot Works Austin Lakeline at Anderson Mill Road and FM 620. Torch those calories in a third of the time with their virtually instructed infrared sauna workouts. Open 24 hours at Hot Works Austin Lakeline. Dave's Ultimate Automotive. With 6 locations, there's sure to be one near you. Visit davesultimateautomotive.com and become a part of the Dave's family today. Magic Robot. Does your company use Salesforce? Get valuable hidden data that only Magic Robot can deliver. MagicRobot.com. Elite Marquee and Events. High quality LED marquee letters and more to help create an unforgettable celebration at Elite Marquee Austin. Introducing the new Women of Austin community. You asked, we answered. We have created a special online community where we can stay connected between events without the distractions of your typical social media platforms. You'll find exclusive content, in-person member-only events, discounts from local businesses, and so much more. Become a founding member today at womenofaustincommunity.com.
Well, one thing I learned from women like Michelle and even Denise that we talked about earlier is setting boundaries. Like, if you don't have boundaries for yourself, then people will ask you for too much. Sometimes they may even be confused what to ask you for, right?
Yeah.
You get to say, like, this is the thing that I'm focused on, or this is how I want to show up. And so you helped us through a conversation around boundaries. And I thought that you might even want to share some of your learnings from that one.
That was a really, really, really good one. I remember that you gave solutions and all the other guests gave solutions. So a lot of it was about giving too much of yourself and people asking you to do too many things. And I learned a lot about setting priorities and picking one thing that's really important to me and giving others work that I can't do, or letting people know right away, if I can't do it, I can't do it, and they can move on and find somebody who would love to do it, whatever it is. But that translates in a lot of different ways in your life, and it's been interesting to see how it's shown up for me.
Well,
And it's great. I'll still get asked, and it's interesting too, because when you do know your worth and you put a price tag on it, they also take and respect your time more.
Absolutely.
So I would get asked to do these events, and they'd have me all day at a 12-hour event, not getting paid a cent. And when I started being like, okay, it's going to start being this much an hour, these expenses, all of a sudden they need me there for 2 or 3 hours. And so, I think that is just important, but definitely a yes person and wanting to really, I think all of our hearts are there when you're in a platform and you have a position, you want to give back to the community in that way. Mm-hmm. But you do definitely, you have to set the boundaries.
I want to talk about the episode that we did on starting over. That was really special for me, and I couldn't wait to sit down and talk to you guys and hear what you had to say, because I had just done it and I was still doing it, and I feel like I'm just now settling in. And I remember that Stacy Armijo said something that really resonated with me. She called it starting fresh, but we'll let her explain it.
So when I think of starting over, it almost implies like what came before was somehow not good. And I don't, that hasn't been my experience, and that's not how I look at the world. I think every experience we had it for a reason. And there was something, maybe we got to enjoy it and it was amazing and it was positive, and then our season of life changed and we went on to some new season. Yeah. Or maybe it was really challenging and it was really difficult, but it taught us something. Yes. So I tend to have a perspective that each stage is valuable in and of itself. And just because there might have been something good about that, there might have been something positive about it, doesn't mean that the next stage might not be even better. Yes. And so sort of having the courage to look to what's next and start fresh. And either by choice, maybe you're gonna make a choice of like, okay, here's what I've done before and I'm ready for something new and I want to do something next. Or it might get thrust upon you like a couch on your head. I mean,
Literally.
it could happen that way.
Yeah, I believe that.
But, yeah.
So that was really special for me, because just that different perspective and hearing someone who's been through something very serious and life-threatening have that attitude and that advice.
Yeah.
I couldn't not put it in my pocket and take it home with me. I was so excited that she was able to explain it in such a beautiful way and to share it with everybody. And I now always say starting fresh. And if anyone asks me, like, that is my new jam. I'm starting fresh.
But think about it. Like earlier, we were talking about how you go from almost practicing to finding power, and that comes with understanding who you are and just life lessons in your journey. But when you start fresh, literally you're telling someone like, I am powerful. This is my moment. Don't steal my joy.
Right.
But you're also telling yourself, like, this is real. Like, this is what I've worked for. And so I think setting that expectation with others that this is good and this is the lens that we're going to look at the world through, but also reminding yourself you did the work gives you those nuggets and that booster shot you need to keep the hard work coming along.
Yeah, that was a really special one for me. I'm so glad you got to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites.
Me too.
Because it's one that will never end for us, right? Yeah. We will continue to start fresh if it's a new project, or, Anthony's moving houses right now. It's starting fresh.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep reminding ourselves that we're growing every time that we do.
And it's an opportunity for something new and great.
I love that you had that one. Yeah. And that's our last one, but it's a great way to end.
Yes.
Because you're about to start fresh with season 2. I had to. I know that was cheesy, but
I love it.
Fresh and clean, a clean new season.
Well, thank you so much for being here and doing this with me. It was so much fun to sit down and remember all of the things and to celebrate. And I just want to celebrate you and all the things that you've done and that you've been doing, and your great me set. I know that
it's trademark now. It's like for real.
Terri has a great me set coming up. So,
but before we close, like, is there one thing that you can give us to look forward to in season 2? I hear that there might be different mics, but what else can we look forward to?
We have a very special episode coming up in January. So TEDx Woman came here 10 years ago, and so we're going to do an episode, a reunion with the women who put it together, and they're going to show up and talk about it. And
that's really incredible.
Yes. I mean, Lizzie Vasquez had her talk, and
it
had
Lizzie's
like 12 million views or something.
Gosh,
and it was
incredible.
So powerful. Yes. So we're going to have Lizzie Vasquez, Alexis Jones, Sarah Hirsch-Bordeaux, and they were all such a big part of making such a special thing happen for women in Austin that I'm so honored that I get to have these wonderful women sit down with me. And we'll have plenty more great conversations with amazing women I can't wait to introduce you guys to.
So I'm going to ask you the question that you ask us before we wrap.
Uh-oh.
How do we keep in touch with you? How do we stay in the know for season 2?
Love that.
How do we follow you?
Yeah. You can follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin, womenofaustin.com, or YouTube, Women of Austin, Spotify, and all the other podcast networks. Look for the Women of Austin podcast. Yes.
And that's a wrap.
Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.